Right. My name is Dr. Brian G. McHenry, and I want to talk this morning on Ada Fussa about creativity in computation. And creativity in computation requires balance. It requires the students to be able to use their creative potential to answer questions. I have to look at the screen because my camera is on a monitor which is broken. So there are times when I have to look away and look at the screen to make sure that everything is working. So it's just the way it is at the moment. And I hope you like my Killa hat. Killa is a great Irish band. They play sort of traditional music but in a very up-tempo beat, and they have a great Bowron player, Ronan or Snuddig, and I will meet Ronan one day and we will go walking on the Blasket Islands because that's where I want to go to bring this book out there. This book has never been on the Blasket Islands. It's a book of Vedic mathematics, and I will explain what Vedic mathematics is. Vedic mathematics is the source of a lot of work that has been done at the moment and has been done over the last 100 years. It was Sri Varatirthaji who brought out Vedic mathematics sometime in the 1920s, I think. I'd have to read that book again and read the prologue and whatever else. But he cognized 16 and 15 sutras, 31 sutras of Vedic mathematics. And these are somewhere in the Veda. Atharva Veda was what stands to mind, or maybe Sama Veda as well. And he started promoting Vedic mathematics as being an alternative or a complementary aspect of modern mathematics. And he did that. Excuse me, I have a slight bit of a chest and a cough and a cold, so I'm drinking green tea with lemons in it to see if I can alleviate it. Excuse me. But he brought out those and he promulgated them throughout the world. And then before he died, he had written 16 books, one on each of the major sutras. And he had written 16 books, but only one survived, and that is the introductory book, which is what this book is. And there are other people who have done other Trojan work. In particular, I would mention Kenneth Williams in the United Kingdom, who set up the Vedic Maths Academy and has been promoting Vedic mathematics since before I came in contact with it. I came in contact with it after doing my flying course in Royden Hall in Kent. And I picked up I could hear someone talking about Vedic mathematics, and there was a bit of a stir of interest. So I picked up two books written by Narinder Puri of India, Roorkee University in India. I don't know what state that's in. I think it was in the same state as it won't come, Bhopal. I think it was that state. I might be incorrect now, but he was an engineer, mechanical engineer maybe, I'm not quite sure. And he wrote these two books, Pushpamala 1 and Pushpamala 2. They were the two that I got. There is a third one which I've never seen, or else I got 1 and 3. And I started to get more books from Kenneth Williams's large supply of books. In particular, I would recommend one book to you, and that is the Cosmic Mathematician, or Cosmic Maths. The Cosmic Computer, that's the name of it. And there's lots of websites around. The one that Kenneth is involved with, I would recommend, and that is Maths to Shine. Maths, number 2, and Shine afterwards. Now, what I'm doing is slightly different in terms that I do not teach children. I went into my son's school when he was in 3rd class, And I did a demonstration for 4th, 5th, and 6th class. I just wanted to know, could I actually teach children? And I could. And someone said, why don't you set up a school out in the local parish hall? I went through that, but it was no point in doing that while the elite of the educational establishment continue to threaten their ire on anyone who uses creativity within their computational tasks that are set for school. So I got on eventually to the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment, and I found them to be a total shower of wasters. I tried to get on to the University College Cork, to those who promote project mathematics, which is a complete and utter waste of time, and they refuse to engage with me. They're all hiding in their offices, whereas I've been forced out into the big university, the University of Life, and I have worked there for 30 years without support, without anything. Now, I believe that the reason I don't get support is because I'm an outspoken critic of the way maths is being taught in our schools. I oppose the introduction of calculators, and at that time there was an article, a big article in the Kerry's Eye, where I am at the moment. I'm in Tralee, County Kerry, and there was a big article in Kerry's Eye of me holding a FAW calculator and whatever the article said. But it was a little bit tongue-in-cheek, and that's fine, it doesn't worry me. But I'm very serious. I have stories that I have been told about people who cannot add, subtract, multiply, or divide. I went to a restaurant takeout here in Tralee. I won't name it because I think they should be ashamed. The fact that they're employing people who have no mental arithmetic abilities. That's Lana in Ash Street, just in case you're wondering. Fine, people use calculators, but for God's sake, you should be able to subtract 12 from 50 and get the answer 38. And what happens if you strike a wrong button? People have no facility with computation at all. People often ask me, what is computation and why do I talk about computation rather than mathematics? And there's a very simple reason, is that computation is driven, in one sense, by knowledge and skill, whereas logic-based mathematics is driven by a desire to win. And logic and skill win over a desire to win at any time. So creativity in computation. That sounds like a big mouthful, but I'll show you a technique. I don't have any aids, so you're going to have to either write this down or use your imagination. And the imagination is a very powerful thing, and it's not being developed within our educational system at this moment in time. And that is why, for instance, the costs in the Children's Hospital have gone from, was it $500 million to $2.5 billion? An outrageous waste of money. And all the politicians should be ashamed of themselves. None of them have the power of computation which I possess. None of them have the ability to compute the way I compute. And I can show them, but the civil servants are keeping everything to themselves. You send an email to a minister and the civil servants block it. I'm quite convinced that that is happening. But I have a plan. And one of my plans is, I released a press release on Saturday evening after the match. It was late. And I said, I'm going to set up a test in mental arithmetic for all aspiring politicians. And I will publish the results. If they refuse to engage with me, that will be published. If their results are below par, then that will be reported. If their results are above par, then that will be reported. I saw recently a post on Facebook or wherever else from someone was giving out that we live in a nanny state. The politicians are telling us to. Oh yeah, they were talking about the referenda, and they were giving out this, that, and the other. And I see, according to the newspaper headlines on the Irish Independent, that the Greens are blaming the other parties. You know, the Greens should be got out of government. Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael should be got out of government. Sinn Féin should be got out of opposition. None of them, absolutely none of them, have the ability to run the country, because none of them have the ability to do mental computation. I do, and I can teach them. But they're going to have to go back to school, to my island university. I have a couple of islands where I have thought about setting up a university, and that will happen. It can be an online university. I also have a location in Tralee where I'm inquiring about setting up a university. But they will not fund my work. This has been going on for 30 years, 32 years to be precise. They will not fund my work because they're afraid of it. I oppose the use of artificial intelligence. Éireann Héarga, as I call it. It's totally unnecessary. The mind is much more powerful than any artificial intelligence system. But let's talk a little bit about creativity with an example. Now, one of the first areas where children are introduced to logic-based mathematics is in multiplication. Multiplication by 11 in particular. Now, going back to the system that I did in school, we were taught the process of long multiplication. And I'm not going to go through the details. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then look it up on the internet. What is long multiplication? And I'm going to show you a technique which is so quick, so fast, that you'll say, why are we not being taught these in school? Well, the reason that you're not being taught these in school is because of the civil servants. I'll come back to those at a later stage. But this is a technique. And the technique is tús, watch my fingers, dere, lechela. Tús, dere, lechela. First, last, together. Now you might wonder, what am I talking about? That is a technique for multiplication by 11. For instance, if you start with the 27, I always start with 27 for a number of reasons. One of them being that it is my birthday on April 1956 is my birthday. And anyone who's interested, there's always something else going on in my mind. I'm also a poet and a writer, and other things, a scientist. I delve into quantum mechanics, I delve into unified field theories, I delve into lots of things. And on the 27th of April 2024, we're having a little celebration of knowledge up at Queen Scotia's grave up in the Cleavemish Mountains up in Foley's Glen. So it runs from 3 o'clock until 5 o'clock, and then for those who are interested, we're having a little kosher, a little meal in the Key restaurant down beyond the Brandon Hotel in Tralee. And I don't know what time that will be. I'll check out what time they open and various things like that. Everyone pays for their own, obviously, and we'll have a little bit of a session there of knowledge as well. But 27 by 11. So think of it, 2, 7. First, you bring down the first digit, write down 2. You bring down the last digit, write down 7, and leave a gap, because there will be 3 digits in the answer. Leave the gap add them together, 2 and 7, add them together and put it in the middle, and the answer, excuse me, is 297. And that's it. 32, 3, 2, 5. So the answer is 3, 5, 2. And you do it in that sequence, or else you can do last, first, together, last, together, first. I have an email there from someone, I'll check it afterwards. And that's it, very simple. So that's a very creative way of actually multiplying by 11. But if you want to multiply a number, this is a specific technique. It's a specificity of multiplication by 11. If you want to multiply a number where the sum of the two digits, say 56, is greater than 10, then you must have an extra little step, and it's called carry. So try 32 by 11, try 45 by 11, and then try 56 by 11, and see if you can resolve what must be done and whatever else. You don't need calculators. If you're multiplying by 12, then there's an extra little step, and 13, there's an extra little step. And just as an example, 12 by 13, what is that? It comes under the name or the formula sometimes, I give it in English, I couldn't remember it in Irish there for a minute. Sometimes, S-U-M-T-I-M-E-S, sometimes. So you use this sometimes. And the answer there is 12 by 13. You write down the 1, and then you sum the two numbers after the 1. 2 and 3 is 5. You write down 5. And then you multiply them together, 6. 1, 5, 6. And that's it. And there are extensions like as in multiplication by 11. And this is the essence of creativity in mathematics. It is the essence of creativity in computation. It is the essence of creativity in what I call duharvicht. Duharvicht is the deep inner computation which we as human beings possess. Ariglum is to enumerate. Arvicht is to perform computation. Rievrucht is a computer. There's a little bit of that folded in and there as well. And du is duv, which is black. So the darkness, the knowledge is coming from the darkness. Or du is deep, or dain, which is dain is deep. So, Sinead, Grab Mahagut, August Sloan. I'll get back onto another topic the next day. So I'm going to leave that there now and check it out. And I hope you enjoyed my little presentation. There's always more going on.